ceremony of Harmony Week, celebrating WA's cultural diversity. So, how harmonious is Australia? I chatted with some young people from diverse ethnic backgrounds to hear their thoughts on multiculturalism in Australia.
Hi, my name is Frankiku. I'm from Hong Kong.
Seema Bucks, age 28, and I'm Pakistani.
Bonjour, je m'appelle Cathy et je trouve que l'Australie est un très très beau pays. J'adore.
My name's Siaka, I'm 28 and I was born in Kenya, but my parents come from Guinea in the western part of Africa.
My name is Kylene Tan, I'm 28, 29 and I was born in Australia, but my background is my dad's Singaporean, my mum's Thai.
Do you think Australia today is harmonious?
To an extent, I would say yes. I would say yes.
It certainly depends on how you want to look at it.
Yes.
Yeah, the majority of the time.
Harmonious, yeah, I think. Because when I look, for example, my country, people are not very friendly, it's very cold, but here it's really cool.
Overall, I would say it is harmonious compared to a lot of the other different countries that you normally hear about or probably might have been to. And again, with the multiculturalism, and again, that could take any spin to it.
I mean, most of the people respect each other. Yeah.
They like drink a lot of beer.
And how is your cultural background represented in the media today?
Not very well, especially with the recent incident in Pakistan with the whole Sri Lankan cricket team. So, yeah, I wouldn't say it was portrayed very well at all.
We would like fight with other people.
How is your cultural practice, has it changed much, or do you practice the language at home and things like that?
Yeah, I do speak Urdu, and I do go back to Pakistan nearly every year.
People spoke very fast and it took a while to get by with it. So that's my daughter.
Real kind of battle, because growing up here I have different ideas from my parents on how my life should be, and a big issue is like not being married, and an arranged marriage is what's typical in our culture, so that's huge.
I myself, I'm not very sure as to what my culture is, because it's not as static as you'd think it would be. It keeps on changing depending on whereabouts you go or where you are at.
You have those boundaries and restrictions of culture and religion, and they play a huge part, so it's really hard kind of finding the balance between the two. So we have a lot of arguments at home. I have a lot of arguments with my mum, because it's not your life. Your parents have a big influence in our culture on who you marry, what you do, so it's just a constant battle all the time.
I think there's certain things about your culture that you need to not necessarily let go, but you need to use them in a certain way that fits into the new culture.
Well, it's really hard. Like, I haven't given in. Like, my mum wants me to have an arranged marriage. And it's not fully arranged. It's not like I've never met the guy, but I have met him a few times. It's more like marriage in our culture is more about marriage between two families, not necessarily two individuals. So if the families get along, or if they're from they have the same background, that's a big determining factor for the parents. So, because your families are really involved in your lives. So.
Do you feel Australian today?
Not really.
Because I stay in Perth for 6 to 7 years, so I basically is more Australian, I think. Yeah.
I do feel Australian, whatever that means.
Yes, I do. And in fact, I wrote my thesis on Australian Chinese architecture, and kind of like in an attempt to kind of resolve this issue in myself.
If I say I'm Australian, people will always be like, what's your background? So, you know, just being born here isn't really considered that you're Australian, if you know what I mean. They've kind of got that stereotypical image, blonde hair, blue eyes.
So I guess I've always felt Australian, except I guess there was one incident that occurred, like when I was in year 2, I remember it very vividly, and someone like made these racial slurs against me, and it wasn't until that moment that I actually realised that I was any different to anyone else, and I guess it kind of, from that day I realised that I wasn't Australian, but I never felt different until that day, so I guess that's kind of left a bit of a scar, and that's